TMCnet at NextCom 2008.
Good morning. I'm Erik Linask with Technology Marketing Corporation, coming to you live from NextCom 2008 in Las Vegas. I'm here this morning with Errol Ginsberg, founder, chairman, and chief innovation officer at Ixia. And we're here to talk about some of Ixia's work in the gigabit Ethernet space. So you were, Errol, Ixia was recently named the top market share leader in both the 1 and 10 gigabit Ethernet market. Is that correct?
That's right. Frost & Sullivan recently announced a survey that they had done where they announced us as having #1 market share for both 1 gig and 10 gig. So we were very happy to receive that recognition after starting the company in 1997 from not very much. So that's a really nice place to be now.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But you also have been very active in the 100 gigabit Ethernet market. Is that correct?
That's right. We're very excited about that. We actually started working on 100 gig Ethernet very early on in 2006 when 100 gig was just a thought in people's minds, and we were very early members of what was called the HSSG, the high-speed study group for the 802.3 Ethernet in the IEEE. And we now have 3 people that are fully active in the IEEE, and the standard is moving along very quickly. About 80% of the tough issues have now been resolved. And there'll be a first draft standard coming out in Q4 of this year. And we just recently, this week, announced a 100 gig proof of concept working 100 gig system that is now being demonstrated here at the NextCom show.
And that is actually what you're here demoing with Infinera.
That's correct. We did a joint demo here with Infinera. They have an optical transport switch, and we transmit into their switch 100 gig line rate Ethernet traffic, and they are then hooked up to EXO's network, and they're running about 300 miles of fiber to Los Angeles, and it's looped back in Los Angeles through an Infinera box there, comes back to Las Vegas, and then back into our proof of concept 100 gig Ethernet test system. And we're transmitting 64 byte packets, wire rate, no errors, 148 million packets per second. So that's the first time that's ever been done, 100 gig Ethernet wire speed. That's pretty exciting.
And how do you anticipate this demo is going to go then?
I think it's going to go real well. Everything seems to be working flawlessly. There's a lot of interest in this. I think the fact that we're actually showing live Ethernet at 100 gig rates actually working has surprised many people, because the standard is not due to be ratified as a full final standard until 2010. So we're very early in the whole process, and we're demonstrating this right now with early optics. One of the various forms of optics that have been certified by the standard. And it's using a module by Avago called the Snap 12. And that has a bundle of 12 fibers in it. We're using 10 of those fibers. And we're using a technique that's been ratified as an initial draft standard by the IEEE called MLD, multi-lane distribution. And multi-lane distribution basically allows you to take the 100 gig traffic, map it down to 10 lanes, and then transmit it over fiber. It could be DWDM, or in our case 10 separate fibers, and it takes into account skew. So even though there can be tremendous skew in these 10 different lanes, it automatically compensates for the skew, and even compensates for one of these lanes getting swapped. So it works very well. It's an excellent demonstration of the viability of MLD for 100 gig Ethernet.
Fantastic. Following this, then, what's next?
Well, what's next is we continue to work with the IEEE on 100 gig Ethernet. The standard is still going to evolve. There's still minor things that have to be modified and improved along the way. But we're pretty confident all those issues will be resolved, and and we will certainly have 100 gig Ethernet shipping product probably earlier than anyone else in the world today. So we're very excited about that and look forward to helping the whole communications marketplace move forward quickly with 100 gig Ethernet. I think it's a very good technology, and it's certainly in high demand by the carriers. They want it, and I think if the large equipment vendors had 100 gig Ethernet interfaces on their routers, the customers would buy it today. So we're going to help accelerate that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Errol. I encourage those of you, if you're here in Las Vegas with us, stop by the Infinera booth and see the demo for yourself.
Thank you very much.